All right. Welcome everybody to our eco-friendly Rotary Club meeting. Thank you all for joining us. I think I probably clicked the right button, but I was going so fast I might have missed it. So let's see if we can get a ding today. Oh, now my PowerPoint's locked up.
Seems to be a day for technological weirdness.
Isn't that weird?
Are there solar flares happening or something?
Hold on.
I was just going to say that. Are there solar flares happening in the United States?
Wait, Sam, go ahead and act like you're hitting the ding.
Here, let's see.
Ding. There it was.
I don't know if you heard. I don't know if you heard. I hit my thermos, so it made a dinging sound.
You got noise cancellation as well. I can't change slides. This is really weird. Let me
Ding,
try
ding,
this.
ding, 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 ding.
Oh, so it's
Ding,
not
ding,
me,
ding,
huh?
ding.
Okay.
See, there we go. I made it ding. Ding, 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 ding,
Nothing's-
ding, ding, ding.
Nothing's working in my PowerPoint here, so I don't know what to tell you. Let me just.
There's your ding-a-ling.
All right, there we go. All right, well,
Right.
let's unmute ourselves and we can do the four-way test. You'll have to do it from memory. I hope that's not too much trouble.
It's 4 whole lines. I think we can manage.
So all of our Rotarians, of all the things we think, say, and do, is it the truth?
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it
Will it
build
build
goodwill?
and better friendship?
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Concerned.
All right, sounds good. I'm
It
good
might
with
be
that.
even better without the lines.
Let's see. I'm gonna just look through here real quick.
We do have a guest.
I was gonna say, I think we have one extra Kraz on the call. Is that a guest we have for the day? Can I put you on the spot to say hello?
Indeed.
It might be another instance of technical difficulty because my microphone's terrible. But hi, I'm Graz's kid.
Awesome,
Nice to
awesome.
join you guys.
Welcome. Welcome. Where are you joining from?
Gainesville.
Oh,
Awesome.
go Gators.
Yep.
Xander,
Sorry, Michael.
Yep.
your grandfather was a wonderful friend of mine, and your grandmother, and Scott, and Keith, and your sister,
And your
Eddie
dad.
Fisher, and Eddie Fisher.
Oh,
That's great.
You have a great family. Well loved by many people, for sure.
yeah, they're pretty cool.
You must love bees.
Yeah, I don't have a choice. My partner is also an entomologist and also studies bees, so I
Love
can't
it.
escape.
I love it.
All right.
All right. Well, with that, let's go ahead and kick it off with, and I can share my screen back, but it's not really necessary. You can hear me and know what I'm saying. But we'll go ahead and start our happy bucks and whatnot. Where should we start today? Let's do birthdays and anniversaries. Let's start there.
I'm raising my hand.
Okay.
Last week was my birthday was May 19th, and also my daughter Oceana graduated from New College. So I drove up to Sarasota and went to the commencement exercise. It was an interesting day, but she graduated and it was lovely.
Wow.
And if I could put Xander on the spot, tomorrow is Xander's birthday.
Yay.
Awesome.
Yay.
Happy birthday, Xander.
Happy
Happy
birthday.
birthday, Xander.
And happy belated birthday, Kraz.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
I'll raise my hand. Sorry.
Wait, well, let's do Roger then Jen. How about that?
Hey, well, my birthday is Thursday. So
Yay!
yeah,
Birthday, Roger.
May's a pretty busy month, isn't it?
Lots of
Busting out all over.
It
I
is
know.
springtime.
I haven't
We're gonna
decided
sing
which
for everybody.
personality is having the birthday as a Gemini, but one of them is.
I know someone used to call me the Twisted Sisters because I'm a Gemini. Mine's June 5th, so I'll pay in 2 weeks.
Are we going to sing for Xander and Roger?
I think there's more coming down the pipes here, Mike. I think there's more to say. Jen, do you have a
Well,
birthday anniversary?
my sister's birthday was May 20th, so almost very close to yours, Kraz.
Goodness.
All right, should we do the special song for Xander? You ready?
Sure.
1, 2, 3.
This is your
birthday
birthday
song.
song.
It
It
is
is
last
very
long.
long.
Hey,
Oh,
That was really awful.
wait,
So
wait.
we're not doing it
Wait,
as a
wait, wait.
group.
The birthday song I know is "This Is Your Birthday Song." It doesn't last too long. Hey, is that what you sang, Susie?
No, I sing, "This is your birthday song. It isn't very long."
Oh, okay.
You just
Yeah.
end it. It's the same concept. It took me forever, and I never could accomplish it with the former Rotary Club to not say, "Let's sing the short birthday song." Because I'm like, do you people understand the concept of a punchline? Because you just gave it away.
Hey,
But I never trained them. I never got them trained. So.
hey, Xander. Xander, are you still with us?
Yes.
So on your screen, you'll see Finola McDowell. At this moment, I believe she's in Dublin. And Denise de Prauw, our incoming president, is in the Netherlands.
Mhm.
Oh, wow.
We get around.
Thought you'd appreciate that.
And Mike is
That's
in
awesome.
Mike is in the Seattle area.
Paulsbo, Washington.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so we're from all over. Yeah.
And so I have birthdays too.
Uh-oh.
We kind of moved along. It was fun though. My wife's birthday was yesterday, the 22nd. My son we're gonna have his birthday party this weekend because it's the last day of school, and we're afraid all his little buddies are gonna go off on some kind of trip. But his birthday is June 2nd. So my birthday is June 15th, but that's only in context because my son is exactly between mom and dad. It's like exactly the same number of days between mom and dad. So my wife's yesterday and my son's birthday party is going to be next weekend, but I'll put some more happy bucks in later on when it's his actual birthday. But let me share a screen in case anybody needs to. This is your Venmo code. There you go. I'll leave that up there. That's your Venmo code if you want to do happy bucks on Venmo. QR setup. That's our business account. That's not a personal account.
Doesn't go to the Sam Bourgeois disaster fund or anything like that.
No, it's
Easy bus travel fund.
in case anyone's wondering, we got bank account cleaned up, we got Venmo cleaned up, everything's ready to go, everything's connected. So this Venmo is connected directly to our club bank account with Chase. So it's all super convenient, super secure in the back end. It's awesome. So it's going straight into our bank account, makes it nice and easy.
You expect me to know how to use it?
Well, just point your that's what they're for. Just point your smartphone camera at it and it'll just tell you what to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
What if you're on your smartphone? That's crazy. Okay, never mind.
What's next? Let's do sad buck so we can finish on a happy note. Oh, that's great. That's great news.
I have
Oh,
a
yeah,
sad,
actually, I'm sorry, go ahead.
did I interrupt? I've got a Ukrainian guy staying with me here, and one of his friends in Dublin, who was the first female that I met in June last year in Dublin, the first Ukrainian. Her only sibling, her brother, was killed in Bakhmut on Friday.
Gosh.
So she just heard on Friday she's going back as soon as they've sent the body back to Kiev.
Oh, that's
So she's
Tragic.
devastated.
Mm.
So she's now an only child.
So sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it's very sad.
Very sad.
Any other comments or things to share on sad bucks? All right. With that, we can try to bounce our spirits a little higher and go to happy bucks. Anything to share there?
I'll share if I may. Last week I got to do a bee presentation for the Rockledge Rotary. It was
Awesome.
it went very well, except 7:15 in the morning the bell rings. So I had to wake some bees up in the morning to get them into my observation hive. They were not very happy about 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning.
Oh,
But I was able
Oh.
to bring a frame of bees, and it was also awkward, the hugging thing, people I didn't know at 7 o'clock in the morning. But it was a lot of fun. Thank you, Neil, for that.
Yeah. Awesome. Denise, I see your hand up.
Yes, I am happy for two reasons. First of all, Friday I'm going to meet my group that I play Dungeons and Dragons with, and I haven't seen them in over 2 months because we've had holidays back and forth and everything. So I'm very, very excited about that. and I just got the mail in a package that delivered a game to me that I really wanted, and finally it was on sale yesterday, and I got a nice discount of almost 50%. So I bought it, and now I have my game. So I'm just very happy about it.
Awesome.
Cool.
That's great.
What game is it, Denise?
Oh yeah, what game?
It's I'm not sure if you have it in English as well, but it's called The Taverns of the Old City, and basically it's a deck building game, and you have to get like clients to your tavern, and you have to collect money and ale, and get the most points possible.
Cool.
I
Awesome.
like collecting ale and money.
Yeah, me too.
Susie.
I have a couple of happy bucks. The first one, I can't remember what I was going to say. Kraz. I'm speaking June 1st, also to the Rockledge Rotary Club. And the hugging thing is a little weird until you realize it's very chaste. They sort of do the A-frame hug. They kind of hug you like a distance. So, but it's fun, and they're a very fun crowd. But you're right, 7:15 is an early morning. I'm just glad I don't have to wake up and have any angry bees hanging around with me. I'm just talking about my Antarctica trip. Also, speaking of trips, I just returned last Wednesday from Ireland, where I was riding horses for 2 days, which was great fun. And we actually had good weather. So I think I'm the good weather fairy, because whenever I seem to go anywhere, even though they predict rain, we rarely get rain, and we didn't really get any rain to speak of while I was there, especially during the part where we were riding the horses. I didn't care if it rained at night or whatever, but when we were on horseback, it didn't rain, and it was really good. We got to see it was nice and cool, and actually cold a little bit, but it was good fun. And then I leave again Thursday to go back to the UK to go to a birthday party, and then I'll be flying home Tuesday, so I won't be here next week. So
What a life.
it's sheer lunacy.
Awesome.
Yeah, but that's why I
That
said I
is
have to
awesome.
keep working to support my crazy travel habit. So yeah.
All right.
Anyway, but that's all I have today. Thanks.
Awesome. And Jen?
Well, I just have to throw in a happy dollar because Susie is living the life. And even though I can't live her life, I get to live vicariously through hers. So that's fun. But no, I have a happy dollar because I got a Verma hut to house my worms, and I started worm farming recently, and I am totally hooked. I love it. And I don't know if worms are a gateway to bees, but I imagine bees will be coming along soon. I had another happy dollar, and now I can't remember what it was. But
Horse racing.
well, I did have a horse win over the weekend, so that was really good. So I loved that. Love seeing that. She had not won a race yet, and she dominated in the race. So it was really fun to see.
Well, could I do this? Could I challenge you, Jen? Because one thing that we've been incorporating, this is our second week now, is after we do our Happy Bucks, Sad Bucks anniversaries, we're opening up to how did you fix the planet this week? So if you have something to share, could you tell us how the worm hut would play into that?
Sure. So sure. So what I was doing, I love gardening, even though I'm not always good at it, and I'm terrified of the big Florida lubbers. Those things freak me out. It's the only insect thing that I'm really afraid of. But I like cooking too, and we would keep a little tin, a little stainless steel tin with a charcoal vent on it for kitchen scraps. You don't put any dairy, meat, or like onions or citrus in there, but I would bury it in the garden with some cardboard, and it would improve the soil. Well, one thing that's really cool is to use worms, composting worms, to improve your soil even more and make what's called like worm tea. And it's just like steroids, natural steroids for your plants. And so I went to a place in Apopka called the Worm Nerd and bought about 2 pounds, maybe more than that. I don't know. It was $100 worth of worms, and literally just like handfuls of worms like this. And I messed up initially. I didn't put them in the right, I didn't watch enough videos and everything, but thankfully the worms were still happy. So I still have a lot to learn. But I love checking on the worms and seeing them just devour things. And once I get good at it and actually am enough to talk proficiently at it and a little bit more educated, I'd be happy to share my vermiculture journey. But the goal is to basically be able to take the worm tea and put it on my plants and really make them grow big and strong. And worm tea can be incredibly expensive. So maybe I can work something out with my neighbors who own sugar top farms, and they do a lot of, they sell to a lot of the restaurants in town. And I've been helping them pick occasionally. Actually, I'm going to go over there this week and get as much as I can because they're shutting down for the season. So going to try and raid all the tomatoes that are left.
Awesome. So here's my request to the group next week. Be ready, because we're going to do this every week, and we're going to ask, how did you iFix the planet? That's our hashtag for SRAG, for the environmental sustainability Rotary Action Group that we're part of globally. So iFix the planet. Think about that. That's your prompt. That's your homework for next week. But in the interest of time, Roger, are you ready? Can we turn it over to you? You're our guest speaker for the day. Everybody knows Roger, I think.
Yeah, you can turn it over. I've got to tell you, this presentation that I did in Keynote, we feel that Sam and I were trying to get it to work a little while ago before the meeting. For whatever reason, when I go into the play mode, it won't share. And we've played around with different permissions and whatnot. Still can't get it. I'm going to try one more time. But I had personally field tested this using my wife's computer across the way there over Zoom over the last couple of days, and it worked. So everybody was having trouble logging in. I'm not sure what's going on, whether it's a Zoom Keynote or
it might be Zoom. It installed updates for me. So maybe it needs to install some updates.
Yeah, no, exactly. I know that can happen to us. So I had checked all that stuff earlier. And if we need to, we'll just walk through it. But it would be kind of a shame because I put a lot of sound and video in this one to give you a feel for what anime can do. And of course, that really won't be here, neither with the bills, the transitions, and things like that. But we'll go ahead and do it. And if it doesn't work, then I might just make a video of it later and put it out there for anybody that wants to have those. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Let's see where we're going to go to the presentation here. All right, I'm assuming that everybody can see the flag of Japan, correct?
Yes, sir. That's right.
All right, I'm going to go into play mode. Let's see if it works. Nope, screen sharing is paused. So we're going to get out of play mode. And we're going to do it the hard way. So this is really just a countdown screen. We're going to go down to the next screen here. I'll move it over just a little bit. And this is about our anime trip to Japan. It was for my grandson, who is now 21. But at the time we put this in play, he was just graduating from high school. And you'll see my little tagline, give a graduation gift to your grandkid without knowing ahead of time. This, I should have known, like a good lawyer, I should have known the answer to the question before we did it. We kind of figured, because he's really into YouTube and video games, that's kind of what he was going to ask us for, something here stateside, maybe go to California and the Computer History Museum. He really surprised us when he said he wanted to go to Japan. But we had given his sister a trip when she graduated from college. Josh is on that's Joshua, my oldest grandson. He's on the autistic spectrum. He's fine, everything academically, but socially is where we have the issues and problems with that. He spent most of his childhood immersed in YouTube and video games, and it's kind of continued as an adult, although he's working and he's learned how to socialize much better. But anyway, we asked his sister where she wanted to go. She wanted to go to Europe. We ended up on a Christmas markets cruise. So we said, well, we're going to ask your brother the same thing. And he said, Japan. So there we were. We went to Tokyo. Susie, I'm sorry, you're going to have to get your Google Translate to see what this is all about and what it says down there, because Susie had specifically wanted me to hold off on this presentation until she got back so she could learn more about anime. So get your camera out, Google Translate will tell you. This is a street scene in Akihabara, and it is the main thoroughfare where they have a lot of the anime concentration. And of course, there's a nice picture you can see of some of the anime characters that are there. So it was 2019, like I said, when Josh was in high school, we knew he wasn't going to go to college when we asked him about this. And we actually had a tour planned for March 2020. And I had chosen March because that's when the International Anime Convention was in Japan. Although it's not the largest anime convention, Japan emanated from, anime emanated from Japan, and this was their convention. So, okay, we're going to put this together in March. And you know what happened in March? We had COVID, and we had actually, COVID and the shutdowns were just beginning to happen as we were scheduled to go on this convention. Josh was living with his mom in Iowa at the time, so our plan was to fly up to Detroit. He was going to fly into Detroit. We were going to pick him up, and at that time, the flights from the tour company were going from Detroit over to Japan. As you can imagine, airlines were canceling, we were rescheduling. It was just a turmoil. You can see from down here that over the 3-year period, I had 127 files involved in trying to get this trip out of here and 319 emails. So it was just a nightmare over a 3-year period getting this trip, but we finally got it going. I had some nice sound effects on here and planes flying and TikTok, but another day. Finally, we got to Japan again. I scheduled for the same reason. The international convention was in March. I didn't think that this was their peak tourist season because it's the same time that cherry blossoms are going on. So there was a lot of people going there. We broke this trip down into segments because in another delayed trip, which was one to Europe, my wife and I had gotten back from in November, and we were 3 years older. And the time zone difference was only 6 hours going over to Europe, and it's 13 hours, 14 out of daylight saving time, 13 in Tokyo. So we decided to break this trip down into segments. None of us had been to Los Angeles, and this is now where the flights were going from over to Japan. So we went to LA and we said, well, we'll stay over for a day and do a tour there and then take the trip over to Haneda Airport in Japan. And we got there 3 days early so that we could have a couple of private tours and make sure that we were acclimated in the anime piece and then fly back and go into LA from there to Palm Beach. This is where I'm going to stop for a second because you asked what we did to help the planet this week. And SRAG has a flight carbon estimator in SRAG, and they want you to see what your impact was and donate that amount of money to the Rotary Foundation. Well, I did. I went in and I put all our information in, and it's not easy because they have a couple of different interpretations between the page that you see here and the calculator, but I did it a couple of times and we came up with with the wrong screen. We came up with the fact that it was $232. But rather than give that to the Rotary Foundation, Mr. President, I'm going to let you tell me to give it to our club foundation or to Happy Dollars, the general pot that you can use, because that was our impact for the 4 of us going over to Japan. You don't need to tell me now, you can think about it and let me know, but that's going to be the contribution for our flight carbon on there. Well, thank you. Well, we had our LA tour, and you see all of these little bugs here because I looked around for tours that would meet our criteria, and our criteria, we didn't have to get up at the crack of dawn and get a taxi cab to some other place where we got on a tour bus with 100 other people and went on a canned tour. And it wasn't easy finding a reputable and a good tour company that could give us what we wanted, but we did find one. And so we have this little 15-passenger minivan. It's a Mercedes, you'll notice, for just the four of us. They were supposed to have food and drink. Well, they forgot about the food, but they had the drink, and that's okay. We ended up with a good hot dog later. I'll explain that. And this was our tour bus operator. And we were sitting, my wife and I were sitting directly in back of him, and my son and grandson in back of us. So this becomes important later. He took us every place that you can possibly imagine. So many that aren't even on this particular picture that you see here. And whatever we talked about or said, he managed to work it in. For instance, my son here was talking about, what's the name of that highway where you see in the movies all the time, where people are always stopped? So the next thing we know, we're driving on the 405, which stands for 4 or 5 miles an hour. He took us around to all kinds of different places. This is the crypto arena where the Lakers just lost last night. And right to the right of it is where the Microsoft hall is. And you can't see it, but they have statues of some of the famous people that played there. The statue for Kobe Bryant is actually out at the crash site, but they have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and others that were in the crypto arena. He took us to the actual original old Los Angeles, where it was founded, right here, which is only a couple of blocks away from actually the Chinatown area in Los Angeles. We walked down here, and he had mentioned about a really good hot dog stand, and we did have a really good hot dog. We went down Hollywood Boulevard, and you can see we took the Bugs Bunny star, a bunch of other stars, but I put the Bugs Bunny in this presentation. And this is actually Eddie Van Halen's Frankenstein guitar, which was the first one that married the Fender and Gibson electronics together and gave us the kind of guitar that we're all used to seeing now. It had the wah-wah stick and the pickup and, you know, the dials and all that kind of stuff. This was fascinating. This picture shows you what it's going to look like. This is the Los Angeles Coliseum, and this is University of Southern California. And this is the Lucas Museum, and he's funding this all himself, George Lucas, which is going to be the Millennial Falcon, and it's going to be the Star Wars Museum. And this is it under construction. It's going to be there in 2 years. This little picture that you see right there is us about right there. He took us to see the Hollywood sign. The Hollywood sign wasn't easy to get to. The Griffin Observatory was closed. We ended up having to get in and out of the van to be able to get close to it. These are the tar pits that you see down here. And I'm going to move some of this out of the way. There's 2 of them that you can't see. Let's see, I'll move this. Oh yeah. This is SoFi Stadium where the Chargers and Rams play. And just to the right of it over here is the NFL Media Center. The NFL headquarters are in New York, but this is the media headquarters. It's just to the right. So there's so many places that aren't even here. Ellen DeGeneres is home. We went through this where the stars are. Bauer, OJ, and Britney Spears had their trials, just everywhere you can go. But as this trip went on, we noticed that this guy kept blowing his nose and whatnot. And we're sitting right in back of him. And I've been handing him my camera to take pictures of us in different events and not wiping it off. And we got it back, all this. And then we thought maybe he was going through either withdrawal as the day went on, or he was diabetic because of the way he was eating and talking and driving. The aggression in his driving picked up. We were just very glad to get back to the hotel in one piece. Let's see here. Let's see if this will move. This slide will go down. Let's see now. Oh, that's right. Sorry, I got to click off. There you go. So we got back to the hotel. We had dinner. We had a little nap. We changed, showered and changed, and then we went to the airport. We went in the lounge. We were waiting because the flight was at 1:15 in the morning. And I did a clip of a FlightAware. This is the northern route. Ours was actually directly across to Haneda. And we left at 1:15 a.m. on Tuesday, and we arrived at 5 a.m. on Wednesday in Japan. It was a 13-hour flight. When we got to Japan, I got to tell you, it was really fascinating because they had this gauntlet of people that made sure that the international flights that were coming in got to where they needed to go. And I do mean a gauntlet. Almost from the time that we got off the gate until we got through immigrations and customs, there was just this wall of people that would show us where to go and guide us through. And this proved to be really beneficial. These are the QR codes that you were able to pre-generate. As long as you held that up on your phone as you were walking through, they got you right through to where you wanted to go. I had all of them for all of us there, and all we had to do was scan the passport and the QR code, and we were through. So that was really great. When we got out and got in the vehicle to get us to the airport, the first thing we noticed was that they drive on the left-hand side in Japan, and which really surprised us. We went to our hotel. It was about 40 minutes away, the Tubo Hotel. It was a great hotel, but when we got into the room, I hadn't thought that a lot of things I did pre-think about. One of them was not upgrading the room that I forgot about. So the rooms were a little bit smaller than we liked. We weren't able to upgrade. There was too much going on that weekend. You can see here, my wife is standing next to the bed. She's 5 feet 4 inches tall, and the bed comes up to her kneecaps. So yes, everything was very low. There were a couple of times in restaurants they had to move me to different tables because my knees wouldn't fit under the tables that were there, including here at the hotel. The other thing that surprised us, and I don't know why it should, but the water was fine. As long as you were in Tokyo, you didn't have to worry about using bottled water at all. Let's click in this. There you go. Okay, so this is at the hotel. They had buffet. They had 3 different restaurants. We went to the buffet restaurant almost all the time. It was really great because they had these wild plates where you could put all the different kinds of foods on that you went through. And so this was actually breakfast. This is their version of scrambled eggs, which were quite runny, pumpkin soup. Every place we went in Japan, they didn't have coffee pots you pour in. They had machines that you put the cup under and made your choice, and it ground and brewed the coffee for you, not only in the hotel, but everywhere that we went. These were pickled different kinds of foods. I had a ball because I just went down choosing a little bit of everything. I lost 3 pounds while I was in Japan because they don't use a lot of the additives and salts that we do over here. And let me tell you, I did not hold back in my eating at all. That was a breakfast sausage, which looked like a little hot dog. Every meal, even breakfast, they had French fries. Go figure. The hotel also had Rotary clubs that met there. And I had trouble. I was trying to use the Rotary app when I was there, but it just wouldn't load at all, even though I had good Wi-Fi connectivity. But when I got back, I did find out that there are 5 Rotary clubs that meet there: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But when I went to the desk and asked them about Rotary clubs, they didn't seem to know what I was talking about. So I was going to go to a meeting while I was there if it had worked out. This was just a street scene at night outside the hotel. This was actually a little video clip that I made because they drive on the left. It's also reversed on the stairs. The side you're normally used to going on the right, no, you got to reverse that. So this escalator was actually reversed, and in the subway, it was the same way. So I was always going against the grain of traffic. Let me move this out of the way. This is a selfie that we took in front of the 7-Eleven because I think I told you earlier in another meeting, 7-Eleven was a big deal after World War II. There are thousands of 7-Elevens, and they came in after World War II, and they became like de facto banks and grocery stores as the country was rebuilt. So I think there's something like 30 some odd thousand 7-Elevens in Japan. And so I just had to go to a 7-Eleven to take a selfie. This picture here is looking at the Sky Tower. It's from the restaurant on the 24th floor. This was just in the back of the restaurant. And this, I took the picture because they are quite conscious in Tokyo anyway about people with disabilities. You don't often see an elevator that has a lower level or button push for people that are in wheelchairs. So I just took that. Okay, we actually hired a private guide for the first full day that we were there in Japan. And we wanted to learn how to use the subway, and we wanted to go to certain places. So all the subway signs are in Japanese and in English. There are two written versions of Japanese. I don't know if this is both written versions of Japanese or not. The first place is, let's try and move some stuff out of the way. I have these pictures layered on top of each other. There you go. That's what the subway looks like. No surprise there. Very clean, very modern. Who knows the story of the 47 Ronin? Anybody?
Not I.
Okay, well, this is the movie. You can get the movie, and it'll tell you about the 47 Ronin. It was actually two warring samurai groups. The first group killed the leader of the second group. That made them, back 300 years ago, unemployable. They didn't have any income. They got their revenge. They decided to get their revenge, and so a year after their master was killed, they went back and killed the master of the first group. And so the lord of both of these samurais, think like the governor of the area, said, "You are not supposed to do this. So now what you have to do is commit hara-kiri." And so all 47 of the samurai committed hara-kiri on this site. And so when you go into this site, they give you 47 burning incense, and your job is to go around and put one down at each one of the 47 grave sites that are there. And the Japanese still do honor this in, I've forgotten where it is. Is it December? Yeah, somewhere in December, they have a ceremony that does all this. Let's see what this slide is here. Hello. Do I have to make these smaller? I guess I do. Hold on. We'll make them smaller. Maybe. Oh yeah, that's the front of the place that you can see what it's like. And sorry, I had all of these blown up and shown, but they do have a movie of the 47 Ronin if you want to learn anything more about it. Okay, here we go. So again, I had these overlaid. The next place that we went to was the Museum of Tokyo. And also at this Museum of Tokyo is The Last Samurai. And again, I don't know if anybody saw the movie with Tom Cruise on The Last Samurai, but this is a statue to the last samurai at the highest point. And this is the last war that the samurai was against mechanized troops. And so, of course, the samurai were pretty well slaughtered with the mechanized troops. This statue is on the high point where the cannons, and I think there was a Gatling gun, and that's where this park celebrates all that. The cherry blossoms were out. I took this because I guess they had to put a sign up to go touch and steal the cherry. The first language was English that it was in. I don't know if there's any particular reason for that. We went to the Tokyo Museum, and of course they had the usual swords and armament and things like that. I took a picture of this because it's actually like a locker, but it's a locker for umbrellas. So you can go and take the key out and put your umbrella in, lock it up, and go in the museum, come back, unlock it, and take off. And I just never seen one like that anywhere else. I don't know if anybody else has. So after we did all this, we went to a place called the Monster Hunter Bar. The Monster Hunter Bar is fantastic. It's built to mirror both the games and the videos for the Monster Hunter. Now, my grandson and I had, hold on a second. Over the ensuing 3 years, we come up with about 10 or 12 things over and above the tour that he wanted to do, but half of them hadn't reopened or were closed, were closed permanently, etc. And but the Monster Hunter Bar was something that he liked. So we decided to go to the Monster Hunter bar. And I had this great video to show you, which you're not going to hear or see. But anyway, the Monster Hunter bar, you can see here, they have the armaments and replicas of all of the things that you would see in either the video game or the YouTube videos and stuff like that. And so then we had a meal. Again, they had the meal was supposed to be just like what you saw they were eating in the game, in the video game, except for this one. And this one is the one that I ordered. And I decided to put this in because this seems to be a staple. It's a chicken cutlet on rice with tofu and some kind of sauce, because I ended up having that a couple of different places I went. It was always on the menu, every place that I went. So this must be some kind of standard fast food. Okay. After that, we went to an anime store. And you can see all of, there's Josh. He has to go around with a little pad in his hand to each one of the boxes, like you see over here, write down the box number and the part number. And then you go to the cashier and they ring it up and pay. And then they send an employee around to open each box and put it all together and bring it to you. Well, the boy was in hog heaven. I think it took him an hour and a half to do all of his anime figurine shopping. So the next day, my wife wanted to go to sumo wrestling. And so we went to sumo wrestling and had that same meal that I talked about before. This was at lunch. And they give a demo. These are two retired sumo wrestlers. And yes, I did have a video on this. And after they give the demo and explain what sumo is all about, then members from the audience can line up and they get to go in and wrestle the sumo wrestlers. And of course, the sumo wrestlers always lose, the customer always wins. Some of them who are shorter put on this sumo wrestling costume. Yes, our son did go in and wrestle. He took a lot of aspirin afterwards. And then we had this staged pause. And of course, my wife Janine has her hand on the sumo wrestler. And I was right behind her holding her up just to give her extra strength, which is really just kind of playing what we do with the Leaning Tower of Pisa, where she's got her hand up like she's holding it, and I'm back of holding her. So, but it was a lot of fun to go and do that. Then our official anime tour began the next day, which would be Saturday. Okay, I'm not sure at all why we got something musically going on, but
we don't hear it on our end. Just for the record, we didn't hear it.
Okay, I stopped it on mine anyway. So, Susie, you asked me what is anime, and it's funny because I actually had to go back and do a little research what anime is, because I know what it is visually. You can see what it looks like over here. Mm-hmm. But in Japan, it's just considered all forms of animation. Mm. But in English, animation means just Japanese animation. To the rest of the world, it's all cartoons. But so if I say anime, everybody else outside of Japan says it's just Japanese. In Japan, if you say anime, it's cartoons to everybody. But there is this genre of having exaggerated heads, big eyes, big hair, and lots of pastels, as you can see here. It's been around for a long time. And they actually emulated Disney, and they did for the longest time too. There's 400 or so anime studios in Japan. We actually tried to get tours of some of them, and they weren't having it. But they do have a few places where they have museums attached to it. One of them was the studio Ghibli. There is the Kyoto Animation, and I think somebody said they wanted to go to Kyoto at one time. That's on their bucket list to do, but there's an animation studio there. There are all different kinds of anime, and these are the genres: Koromoyuki, Shonen, Seinen, Shoujo, Josei, and Hentai. The two that my grandson likes are the Sono and the Seinen. That's why the little asterisks are there. And I had a nice animation for this too. Sorry. All right. So again, the two things that my grandson does are really games and YouTube. What you'll notice, I put a clip. There's a whole section in Amazon Prime, if you want to, where you can see all kinds of anime movies. There are comic strips that you can buy. This is Barnes and Noble. They have a whole book section. You can really get into heavy into anime if you want to. And they have done a nice job in monetizing anime, believe me. The Akihabara site is there. They have these malls that are dedicated strictly to all kinds of things anime that you can go down and buy. You know, they have their statues to make you want to come into the stores, just like you would think if you went to Disney or Universal or Marvel, that they have a place. So they've done a nice job. We went to the Anime Japan tour. It was raining like crazy, as you can see from my screenshot that was here. I have this nice video that I captured that was going to show you a little bit of what it was about. There was a long line. This is my wife looking to see, can we get there yet? It was 1 hour standing in line just to be able to get inside, and about another 20 minutes just to go through the entrance security. So this is kind of what it looked like inside. I'm using their convention experience because my wife and I over that time were in full bloom sick mode. But we still had enough energy to be able to go there. They could clearly see that my wife and I were probably the oldest people there at the anime convention. And so this gentleman is from Japan Television, and he wanted to interview us. But we're doing cough, cough. No, but my son, here's my son and my grandson. My grandson was having no part of it. He decided to go visit some other, but my son, being the ham he is, decided to be interviewed by Japan Television. And there were these two girls, they were filming him and these two young ladies. Now, they didn't speak or understand much English. So he would ask the question in English, my son would answer, he would translate, and they would give the appropriate kind of response. It might be laughing or turning and saying something to each other, etc. He gave me his business card. He was rather insulted that I asked him if it was going to be on YouTube or not, but he said, no, this is for Japan TV. He gave me the business card. I tried to hold on to it, but I lost it somewhere along the way because I wanted to get the video. And I'm just looking at our time. I will speed this up. Okay, my wife and I went to the second floor above the convention, and we just sat on these wooden benches to the side for a whole 6 hours. My son and grandson came up. We went to one of the restaurants here, and we just sat there. After the convention, we went to Ninja Trick House. This was a little side street. Some of the others were very clean, but this was not. They had a lot of bars that were here. There were 4 or 5 people. This is where they had Godzilla. That's what he looks like at the day, and that's what he looks like at night with fire-breathing dragon. They went to the Ninja Trick House. We went back to the hotel and just coughed. We got a taxi early and just went back and hibernated. Okay, so the next day we had to divide and conquer. We just stayed in the hotel for 3 days. Our son went out and got some medicine. You can see Tylenol here in Japanese. I did have a temperature that got as high as 101. Even when you went to the desk at the hotel, there were temperature sensors, even before you could walk up to the desk. So we were very concerned about being able to fly out. So we just stayed in the hotel, hoping we would get better. The next day, they went to several anime-related places, the Kanda Shrine. That's in a lot of anime. They went to the Ghibli Museum. Now, let me try and get this out of the way a little bit. The Ghibli Museum that you see here, this guy, by the way, is up on the rooftop up here. It's actually a robot from one of their shows on there. He's a pretty tall guy. He's 6'1". So, you know, that went up there a ways. They went back to Nakadra Broadway. They went to another shopping mall, more anime stuff. It was just shopping, shopping, shopping. The next day, which is a built-in free day, went to this Tokyo Tower, which is 2,080 feet tall. They went up here to this little observatory. You can see what it looks like down there, and you get a good view of Tokyo. And they continued after that. They went out to this little kind of garden park that they found on their walkway across there, to some food stalls, delightful looking desserts that were there. This was some strawberries. These, as far as I can tell from translation, were some kind of hot food. They picked this up from the 7-Eleven. I used my Google Translate. It was for Mother's Day flowers. Yeah, you can't read it, but it's for Mother's Day flowers. That's what they were going to get. The final day of the tour, they went to a fish market. It's very similar to what you get in Seattle. A lot of little outdoor stands, the fish. This you could just point to and they get you whatever it was that you were interested in. Then they went to the Shibura crosswalk, which is that world's largest one that you see. It's also featured in a lot of anime films. The Hachiko statue, this was famous. This was a dog whose master died in the 20s. He went every day for 10 years and waited for his master, who never came home because the guy died at work. And so the Japanese built this statue to honor loyalty and obedience. And then the original one was melted down for the war, and this was rebuilt after the war. And this is, and again, a lot of animes that are there. This is not hibachi, it's teppanyami. And this again was built in by the tour company. It looks like hibachi, but it was their built-in lunch. And this is after World War II, they had to just use hot steel plates to make their meals with. And so that's what they did. And this is the Senjoji Museum shrine, which is in a lot of anime. Finally, we went home, and I put a couple of things up here real quickly. This is on the taxi headed out to the airport. We were very lucky that we made it through and were able to get on the flight home. This is actually their security line, and I put it in there because even though I didn't take the picture, this is a clip. You can see how orderly and clean it was. And security is actually back here in this room. So you go by this eco-friendly disposable area, and that's where you put all the things that you can't take on the flight, and including just general trash. So they had it separated by, cardboard and paper and plastic. And then you go through here into the TSI kind of security. And this, we did take the more northern route to get back home. Hollywood sign is what you see when you get off of the plane. You're on your way to pick up your luggage to go to immigration. Immigration, by the way, was much, much faster than Miami. It was wonderful. We got to the hotel, same hotel that we had, and we tried to check in. We couldn't. We were told that their systems were down. We were sitting there waiting. Everybody that came in after us was sitting there waiting. And I just happened to glance at this man walking through the hotel lobby. And I said, that guy looks familiar. I did a double take and looked that it was Speaker Kevin McCarthy that was coming out of the back entrance to the hotel with one aide. They went out front. I was surprised I didn't see any security. Well, shortly after that, people who came in after me were beginning to be able to check in. They never did call us and tell us that they could check in. I finally figured out later that their system's down, where that's how they kept the speaker cordoned off in whatever meeting he was in. We took our flight back to PBIA. The next morning, we had to get up at like 4 o'clock in the morning to catch it. But we got back in the afternoon. And this was a really neat video that I had for you to play too, just so you could get the whole idea. It was a lot of fun. There's lots of drama and heroics in there. So just a little capsule of our anime tour. I think we're running just about on time. Any questions?
I have a question or two, but I guess my question to you would be: are you going to be able to do the video export from the keynote? And if you do, send me the link or whatnot, share it to your iCloud or whatever, and I can post it because I'd love to watch all the videos with all the sound and everything. I hate for all that to go to waste.
Yeah. I wouldn't give the narrative again. I just kind of go through the slides. That way people can get through it fast. But
shucks.
yeah,
Well, I don't want you-
sorry.
I don't want you to go through any trouble. I'm just saying it does.
Oh, no,
it would
that'd
a
be
lot of fun
fine.
for me.
That'll be good.
And so here's my actual question. Was the water ever served cold, or did you guys ask for ice water or anything like that and get funny looks?
Yeah, no, we didn't ask for ice water, or most of the time it was the 50s anyway over there, so we just drank the regular straight tap water.
Oh, okay. Yeah, when I in my travels in Asia, I could never find water that wasn't either hot or at the very least room temperature. And my little boy got in the habit when he was learning to speak, he would say ice water or cold water. So when you say, "Do you want something to drink?" he says cold water, because he hated drinking hot water. I don't know why, but and then my other comment was the 7-Elevens. I've wondered that same thing. Now I'm going to go research that about after the war, because when I was in Hong Kong was split 50-50 with Family Mart and 7-Eleven. But I was like, I have never seen so many 7-Elevens in my life. There were 7-Elevens like across the street from each other. It was crazy. So I'm guessing the same reasoning for Hong Kong. Anyway, those are my two comments.
Food, bagging, and questions?
Roger, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
When you showed the picture of the subway station, I noticed there was a barrier between the waiting passengers and the trains. I've traveled in Europe and I've never seen such barriers. Is this unique?
I don't know if it's unique. I agree with you. I've never seen anything like, certainly not stateside, and I hadn't seen it in Europe either. This was the first time I'd run into it, and they're pretty automated. And it rolls in, and bam, the gates open, and on you go. So yeah, and then they said inside when they tell you where the next stop is, it's both in English and in Japanese too.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was
Okay,
great,
well-
Roger. Thanks so much for doing that. That was good fun.
Well,
Yeah,
you're
I
welcome.
love that.
And I'd certainly I'm sorry we didn't get to Japan earlier in my life, because it would be a fun trip to take and see the rest of the country. Yeah, we enjoyed it.
It's nice that you got to see the cherry blossoms too. That must have been amazing.
Yeah, good timing.
Mm.
Well,
Yeah,
thanks.
The cherry
Thanks.
blossoms would be amazing. Great job, Roger.
Thanks so much,
And
Roger.
Well, thank you.
I can't imagine doing that trip while you're sick. I mean, that looks like an exhausting trip when you're healthy.
And then you got sick. Yeah. Yeah. What a shame.
Well, it really was, and it was definitely the driver that made us sick, and our kids didn't get it, and grandkids, because they were far enough back, they didn't get the viral load. It was that simple. And I actually think it was more from the phone. I said, "Here, take my pictures, take our pictures," and he hands it back, and my wife and I aren't paying attention. We're looking all over about Los Angeles. There you go. So we were sick.
Did your grandson really love it? Was he really thrilled?
Oh yeah, he loved it. He loved it because they were all his people. There were a lot of people there that were, I would say, were probably on the spectrum too, or certainly people who were gamers. The one thing we noticed on this, there wasn't a lot of costume play, what they call cosplay. One of the videos in the video had a picture of people doing the cosplay. We could pose with them and give them money for that. But yeah, not too much. Also, they don't do tipping over in Japan. Our tour guide that we got, a kid named Kyle, he's actually from Venezuela. And he's always been interested in Japan. His mother was Japanese, and he's trying to get her to come over. So he speaks Spanish, English, and Japanese fluently on all of those. Nice kid, real nice guy. We gave him a huge tip because he was so good. Yeah.
That's nice. Yeah, it's on my list of places to go, but it's not high on my list, but it is on my list someday. So
I have a question for Xander. Xander, what'd you think of your first Rotary meeting?
Sorry, I was typing a message. It's not my first Rotary meeting. I've been to a couple in person a while back, but it was really fun. There was an awesome presentation. Thank you for sharing your trip. It sounds like a lot of fun. I was also going to say all the Studio Ghibli movies are great, so I recommend any of those. Like Spirited Away, Princess Mononoke, those are all really good, good entry level stuff.
I've seen some of those.
Oh yeah.
Miyazaki, right?
Do you mean the animator you were talking
Yeah,
about?
Miyazaki.
Yes,
Yeah,
Miyazaki.
Miyazaki.
All the Miyazaki movies
Yeah,
are great.
Miyazaki.
oh, Gael's here. Hi, Gael. And Jada Giles in France. So I just noticed Kyle joined us. So that's great. All right, I have to drop and I won't be here next week. So I'm sorry to miss you all, but I should be here for future meetings. So
Bye,
David,
Susie.
you're saying sayonara.
Sayonara, Dave.
All right. Thanks, Roger. Thanks for stepping up and doing this.
Excellent
Great
program.
Thank you,
All right.
Roger.
Talk to
Thank
everybody
you.
later. All right. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. We'll see you guys. Bye.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming.
Is that the end of the meeting?
Yeah, I'm going to end it because I guess
fell
Sam
last-
signed off.
Susie, I
Huh?
fell last night. I tripped. I've injured my shoulder and my knee.
Oh, no.
I didn't hit my head. Just stupid stuff.
Oh, dear.
Flip the
Is it-
corner.
You what?
So hurt. I can't lift my arm.
Oh, God.
And I
yeah.
have to go to, apparently have to go to Seattle to find an orthopedist.
I hope nothing's broken.
That's a very, well, I don't know. It's maybe I can lift it up.
Oh, that sounds like rotator.
Yeah.
If you can't do that, yeah. Did you
I've had
trip up or
two-
something or just slip or?
I was opening a blind, here it's either really bright or it's dark. And I was opening a blind, let some light in and just caught the corner of a table and down I went.
Have
Anyway,
you found a house? I've lost track. Have you found a house?
Yeah. We move in July 1.
Oh, cool. Okay. All righty.
Hi, George.
Or George, how you doing? You're on mute. You're still on mute.
Yeah,
There you
I was gonna give a heavy dollar, but it went too fast because I found out that I might be able to have orthopedic surgery on the base of my spine. I
Oh.
got 2 herniated discs, and if it's successful, I won't need to walk around with a walker all the time. So I'm excited about that. But I'm gonna have to stay at the hospital in Orlando at Lake Nona for about they said between 2 weeks and a month to recoup with
Wow.
rehab. But well, that's great though. I mean, it's good news for me. I don't want to wound up in a wheelchair all my life.
Yeah.
My longtime primary doctor died 10 days ago, Dr. Bruce Thomas.
Sure, I knew Bruce.
No, I remember him. I used to go to him years ago.
Oh, I loved him. I'd have taken a bullet for him. I really liked him.
Yeah.
I
Sylvia.
remember when
had
he
him
got
for
out of
many
the Navy, the Air Force, or whatever he was in, and he showed up at the Chamber of Commerce in his uniform. I said, "Hey, did you go to Vietnam?" No, I'm just a doctor, and but I just got out of the service, and I want to be part of the community. And he was my doctor for a little while, but yeah, I saw that in the Sunday paper, I believe. I don't know.
Died
when.
during surgery.
Oh my God, he must have been young. He probably wasn't.
It
Was he
60?
younger than 60? I'll bet. Yeah.
Probably.
Wow. I have to tell Sylvia because I went to him when I first moved to the area, I think. But then I moved up here and I forget, some insurance change or something. I didn't go to him anymore, but and Sylvia went to him for years, my business partner. She adored him. So he was very well liked. Oh, what a shame. And Dick Ballantyne died.
No, when?
It was a couple of weeks ago because Ailish went to the service.
I
It was
didn't see an
while it was-
obit. I take to Florida today still.
I'll have to ask Ailish. But yeah, they did a service. Well, I don't know, some sort of memorial thing. But yeah, I think it was kind of a surprise. But
He'd been ill though, I thought.
I think he had been, but I don't know. I think he was getting a little bit dementia. So I don't really know. So yeah.
Who was
All right.
Who died, Susie?
Dick Ballantyne. Remember Dick from our old
Oh,
club?
I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a couple of weeks ago. I couldn't go to the service, but I don't remember. It might have been the end of April because I remember saying I'm going to be out of town, and Ailish went. But I was out of town and haven't talked to her about it since. I've seen her since, but I kept forgetting to ask her. So, yeah.
I remember working a primary election with him, and every potential date that came in, he was noticing.
Yeah, he was a player for sure. All right, guys, I gotta run. I got a million things to do
Yeah.
today.
Love
I'll
you
talk to you
guys.
later. I'll see you not next week, but the week after. Okay, take care. Good luck, Mike.
Bye.
Hope you feel better. Bye.
I'll feel
Yeah,
better.
good luck, Mike.